My full name is Carlos Enrique Whittaker Guzman Archibol Cabello. Okay, that's 6 names. Now, in order to like really make me feel like I am family, wherever you're at, this is going to feel weird because you may be in your car, you may be at a desk, you may be, I don't know where, in a coffee shop, but could you just say, good morning, Carlos, wherever you're at? 1, 2, 3.
Good morning, Carlos.
Oh, and there's a few people in the room that have
Good
said it
morning,
as well.
Carlos.
That was great. They were really
Morning,
bad at rolling their
Carlitos.
R's. I wonder how good you did. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to be hopping in. I'm gonna try to. I'm in charge of the switcher here, so this is gonna be kind of fun. Look at that. That is me. And watch this. Boom, I'm in the corner now. I'm a professional streamer. Okay, this is amazing. That's my full name, Carlos Whittaker, right there. And let's see, Winnipeg, Canada. I'm sure you guys are kind of still rolling in here. And this is what we're going to be talking about, becoming moment makers. Becoming moment makers. So in the chat, type moment maker, just so I know that you're there. I want to see you guys in the chat, type moment maker, because that is what we're going to be trying to do. Yes, you guys are there. You're on top of it. I am excited. What do I mean by moment makers? Well, what you do, which is just so mind-blowing, is you literally create moments every single day for patients, for families. But what I don't want you to forget is that you're actually also creating moments for yourself. You know, you get to work with people that I need you to remember that you can actually receive moments from them as well. So as you're creating moments, we're gonna be talking about how to do that specifically. Don't forget that you can receive moments as well. A lot of the moments I'm gonna be talking about today in this Becoming Moment Maker talk are about my family. Can I introduce you to my family? Well, I'm going to, even if you don't want me to. So that is me right there in the middle. And then next to me is my wife, Heather. We've been married for 24 years. Please give her a round of applause for pulling that off. Yes, she's kind of like the chief moment maker in our family. She's the one that really taught me how to do all of these things. That is Heather. And then to my, let's see, I don't know where it is on your screen, but the young man next to me is my son, Losiah. We adopted Losiah when he was 6 months old from South Korea. And again, talk about creating moments. You know, I thought I was going to rescue a child from Korea. He actually ended up rescuing me, which is just so cool. So he is now 18 years old. And then next to him is my 20-year-old daughter, Sayana. She is kind of like she came into the world snapping her finger, rolling her neck, just kind of like the rule follower. I don't know if any of you guys have those versions of children in your family, but I've got a moment about her we're going to talk about in a little bit as well. And then my daughter, Sohaila, next to my wife. She is 22. We're going to be talking about her in just a second as well. She just got married to Brady, who is next to her. So he is like, I'm still kind of recovering from that, like adding another human into my family, but that's okay. We love Brady. Brady, I'm glad you're part of the family. I promise, I do. Trying to figure the father-in-law thing out. But I show you this because I want you guys to know. I want everybody to know that making moments and creating moments does not just need to happen in your work. I'm telling you, the more you create moments outside of what it is that you do professionally, the more you're going to be a moment maker when you clock in. And so, like, this isn't something that you can just turn on and turn off. This is something that actually needs to happen constantly. And so we're going to be talking very specifically about creating moments within what it is that you do. Now, here it is. There is a understanding that I understand that you are, you're walking and you're working with people that are living in traumatic moments in their lives, right? And so it is very important that you create moments very specifically for them. And I'll go ahead and tell you, like, one of the reasons why I jumped so quickly into this keynote and saying, yes, I'm going to do this, like whatever you need, is because what you don't know is that the industry that you're working in is actually something that's very palpable to me in my life. I guess it was, let's see, Sohaila is 22 now. So when she was 16 years old, we entered into a very scary season in our lives. And this is, let's see if I can, oops, I clicked the button on the wrong computer, so hopefully nothing messed up. Here is a photo of Sohaila and myself when she was 16. And we lived our lives. We lived our life at Vanderbilt University Children's Hospital, the Monroe Children's Hospital in Nashville, Tennessee. We were in there for a month and a half. And it was traumatic. It was not only for her, but obviously for the rest of my family, and then for our relationships. So like, what I need you to understand is that you're not only dealing with the individual patient, you're dealing with their families, you're dealing with their friends. There are kids in school that are worried about their friends in the hospital. This has a ripple effect. The people that you touch has a ripple effect into all aspects of their lives. And what I didn't know about my time in the hospital and about my daughter's time in the hospital, where I was permanently stuck next to her in the bed, was that the thing that was going to bring us the most healing was, drumroll please, Fortnite. Like, who in the world thought that Fortnite was going to be the thing that we would end up bonding over when she was in the hospital? So Hale was in the hospital for a month and a half. She ended up with a fungus in her lungs called histoplasmosis. And any Fortnite gamers in the chat, let me know. I didn't know, like, I rolled my eyes and she was always on her phone playing Fortnite. Well, they actually wheeled in. Now, this was, I think, like, outside the confines and the scope of who I'm talking to right now, but they wheeled in a gaming system, and I played on my phone. And so Hayla played on the gaming system, and we would play Fortnite. What started off at 30 minutes a day, it ended up being like 2 hours a day. 2 hours a day. And then here's the cool thing. When I would go home with my other two kids, because someone had to go home, take care of them, my wife would stay in the hospital. So Hale and I would still play Fortnite together. Gaming actually is a great way to create moments in your family. That is exactly the scope of who I'm talking to. This is amazing. This is so cool. I am, look at you guys. I am loving the fact that you know this. Some of you may be gamers, some of you may not be. I have now ended up playing Fortnite way more than any of my kids. Like, I'm addicted to it. And they took it off of iOS, but I still have like the oldest version on my phone. And there's a few hundreds of us left on planet Earth that still play with each other on iOS. But I just wanted to let you know that I see you and I understand who you are. Love it. Okay, so let's hop into exactly what I'm talking about. When did I realize that, oh, you guys are talking about builds now. Like you guys are real gamers in the chat right now. This is amazing. The first time I realized how important moments are, my family and I were in Atlanta, Georgia, and the scope of what a moment could do. And we were driving to a Braves game, and the kids were in the backseat of the car singing that Beyonce song, All the Single Ladies. Do you guys know the song? In the chat, let me know. If you like it, then you should have put a blank. Fill in the blank. What is the ending line to that song? Oh, ring on it. Tracy, you got it. Jen, you got it. Giovanni, you got it. Everybody's got it. This is amazing. You should have put a ring on it. So they're in the backseat of the car singing All the Single Ladies, All the Single Ladies. And I pulled my phone out to start recording them singing All the Single Ladies because I thought this was really cute. So I was going to send a video to my mom who lived in LA. Now listen, this was like 15 years ago, 16 years ago. And in the middle of the song, I thought it'd be funny. And I told my son who was singing, he was like 2 years old at the time, hey, buddy, you're not a single lady. He did not take kindly to my comment. He didn't think it was funny. And let me show you what one moment of mistaken parenting, okay, we're talking about moments here, what one moment of me making my kids cry actually ended up doing for my family. You're never going to believe what happened. Watch this.
The Whittaker family of Atlanta was in the car just singing along to Beyonce's hit song, Single Ladies. And then the family fun took an unexpected turn.
Sorry, you're not a single lady, buddy. Oh, yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. You're a single lady. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Buddy, I was just kidding. I was just kidding. You can do it. Buddy, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, buddy. You're a single lady, okay? Okay? Here we go. If you like it, then you got to put a ring on it. Sorry.
Did that hurt your feelings? You can be a single lady if you want, okay? You want to be.
The People's Choice Awards are not just about TV, music, and movies. I'm talking about viral videos. They were a huge part of our lives this year, and here's the one you voted as your favorite.
We're here at the Whittaker's home to surprise them with news that they just won Favorite Viral Video Star for Single Ladies Devastation.
Oh, that is such a great video.
Thanks a lot.
Congratulations, guys.
Yay! That's right. I won a trophy for making my son cry. Like that is the power of. I had Queen Latifah herself hand me a Crystal People's Choice Award for making my son cry. Talk about the power of a moment. That is mind-blowing. Every time I watch that video, I can't believe exactly. How many of you guys are old enough to remember when that video went viral? This video went viral before like viral was actually a thing. I'll never forget my wife when that happened. She's like, I was gonna text the video to my mom in LA, and my wife was like, no, you need to upload that to this brand new website I just heard of called YouTube. And I uploaded it to YouTube. The next morning, we were on Good Morning America. We're on the Today Show. We're on all the news shows. Ended up winning a People's Choice Award for it. But here's the kicker, and this is where I want you to really think about this for a second. After we won that People's Choice Award, I woke up the next morning and I looked at my wife and I was like, what in the world? Like what is happening? Like, why? How? Who? Like, it doesn't make sense. And my wife looked at me and she said, now remember, this is 15 or 16 years ago. She said, let me tell you, you showed a real, true, authentic moment. And in this day and age, people don't know what's real anymore. People want authenticity, and you were authentic. And all of a sudden I realized, now fast forward to 2024, if that was true back in, I don't know, 2010, whenever that was, imagine how much more true that is today. So how authentic can you live as you're creating moments on a daily basis? The first thing we are going to do is we're going to talk about created moments. Everyone in the chat, type created moments, just so I know that you are still with me. Created moments. These are moments that you are in charge of. These are moments that you get to create every single day. You know, I can only imagine the moments that you get to create every single day. And there's a few things that I think can be very, maybe some handlebars that you can grab onto. Because as you're creating these moments, you know, I know that there's some of you that actually create games. Like, that's kind of cool. I think I met one of you earlier, but here's the other kicker, is that you don't have to be like the creator of the game to create a moment when you walk into a room, right? When you walk into a room with a patient, or you walk into a room with a family, there's all kinds of ways. One of the first things I think of right away is like, make sure that when you're creating these moments, something that automatically attaches your heart to them is say their names every single time. Walk in and say the name. If you know the name of the parent, if you know the name of the patient, whoever it is, say their names, look them in the eye. Sohaila was is my daughter's name. And people, the doctors and the nurses would walk in, and when they would say, hey, Sohaila, like they would go straight to her, make sure that they weren't talking to the parents first. They were talking to Sohaila. There was something about that created some safety inside of these created moments, right? So, you know, say their names, make sure that you're maybe even trying to figure out how to like surprise them with moments every single day. You don't have to be creating these gigantic, huge People's Choice Award moments in order for a moment to be valuable, right? Like what are some smaller moments that you can create, you know, every single day? I know that we're talking about gaming, and we're talking about, you know, all of the things that you guys can do within that, but what are ways even at home you can practice creating moments? Creating moments. Think about it for a second. You're creating something every single day. I saw an extra gum commercial many years ago that gave me an idea. And it gave me an idea that I'm going to play for you in just a second. And this idea was that if I create small moments every single day, what they do is they begin to collect these moments, right? So your patients, they're collecting these moments. The families that you're talking to, they're collecting these tiny little moments. Who knew that the Fortnite moment when they wheeled in that gaming system with Sohaila and myself was going to create a gamer out of me? Like, nobody knew that. I did not know that. But what happened was these small moments every single day ended up turning into something bigger. So I want you to not think about creating gigantic moments, but think about small moments. And I'm going to play a commercial that I think drives home this point. Watch this.
Sometimes the little things last the longest. Give extra, get extra.
That was a gum commercial, and I can virtually see half of you crying right now. Like, who knew that a gum commercial would make it? Go ahead, let me know in the comment section. Did that just give you a little bit of soul touching inside of your ethos? I know every single time I watch that commercial, it did it for me. Now, let me tell you what that did. And again, I want you to think about how this can apply to what you do every single day in the circumstances that you find yourself in, right? Yes, so sweet. As a parent, I feel attacked, Marty said. Absolutely. Carla, you're admitting that you cried. Absolutely. You know, I saw that commercial, and let me tell you what I did. I got up and I walked out to my minivan when I watched that commercial, because at the point, I think Sohaila was 10, Sienna was 8. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want you to grow up, right? Like, especially like as a dad with feelings, like I felt attacked. So I got up and I drove to Walgreens. And what did I buy? Let me know in the comment sections what you think that I actually bought. What did I buy when I got to Walgreens? I'm waiting. Let's see. A gaming PC. Nope, that's not what I bought. Also, does Walgreens sell those? Yeah, exactly. I bought extra gum. The commercial worked. Okay. So marketing department at Extra Gum, well done. You made this father go buy, I don't know how many packs of Extra Gum. So then I drive home and I'm sitting in my driveway, and I'll never forget. I pulled out my phone and I YouTubed how to make an origami flamingo or whatever that thing was that the dad made. And I made a really ugly version of that thing. And I walked inside, and remember at the time my daughters were like 8 and 10. And so like the 10-year-old was crying almost, like every hour about something at this point. And so I wait, and sure enough, Sienna started crying about something maybe 2 hours later. And I was like, here we go. Sorry if I clap in the microphone if that's too loud. I was like, Sienna, come here, baby. It's okay. And she told me, so her sister hurt her feelings. And I got down on one knee and I made a really ugly version of that flamingo crane thing. And I handed it to her. And I was like, hey, baby, listen, every time you're sad, I want you to pull out the flamingo crane thing. And I want you to know that daddy loves you. And she's like, daddy, it's beautiful, right? I made a moment, right? It's a tiny little moment. And I gave it to her. And I was like, do you know, she left. And do you know what I hope she did? I hoped that she went and found a shoebox. And she put the flamingo crane thing in a shoebox. And then when she cries again, I'm going to make her another one. And then when I finally let her move out at 30 years old, I'm going to be moving boxes out to the car. And I'm going to be kicking boxes over, looking for the box of flamingos to spill all over my driveway. Now, that's not what happened. The next morning, I woke up and I went to use the restroom. And I opened the toilet lid, and what was floating in the toilet? The crane, okay? So it was like one and done. I did not have this Extra Gum commercial moment. But what I did was I created a small moment. Now here's the kicker. This is what I want you to think about. This is how I want you to apply it to what it is that you do every single day. Think about what happened with this dad, okay? She collected these small moments that she hung on to. I want you to know and understand that these moments that you're creating, whatever facet of technology that you work in, these moments that you're creating are getting saved. They're getting saved inside of the person's heart. They're all collecting these things, and they will carry them throughout life. There are things they're going to look back to when what you have done has impacted their life. They're going to remember those things. So just remember, as you're creating moments on purpose, that they're being saved. Now, one of the things when I was in the hospital with my daughter, okay, when she was in the hospital and I was in the hospital with her, was it felt like the volume of the hospital, even though we tried to keep things quiet in her room, was so loud. There were so many doctors and nurses coming in and out. She's getting checked, all these things constantly. One of the things that the gaming allowed us to do was honestly to lower the volume of life. Lower the volume of life. When you lower the volume of life, the volume of living goes up. Okay, so let me say that again. When you lower the volume of life, the volume of living goes up. All of these moments that we were able to connect in the hospital, whether it be when they brought a dog in, so that they would bring in like a golden retriever that my daughter would love. Literally her pain, she would tell me that the pain in her body would dissipate. her pain and her body would begin to go down. When we were playing Fortnite together, she would say, "Daddy, I don't hurt as bad." What is it? Listen, I'm not a neuroscientist. I'm not a physician. I don't know what it is, but she would tell me that she would feel the pain in her body begin to go down. And I honestly believe it's because we lowered the volume of life. When you lower the volume of life, the volume of living begins to go up. So just know that is so important. It's such an important thing, such an important thing that you do is literally lower the volume of life. So the volume of living for these families goes up. First one, created moments. Next, everyone in the chat, I keep hitting the wrong computer. Everyone in the chat, type in received moments. Let me see it. Let me see it in the received moments. There we go. Received moments. Yes. There we go. Received moments. What do I mean by these? Here's the thing. When you are creating moments for others, listen, I know how exhausting what you do is, right? I know it may be life-giving, but it's a lot of work. What I want you to remember is that a human-to-human connection is like this cyclical thing. When you're giving a moment to somebody else, I promise you, you're receiving those things at the same time. So I don't want you to just think of yourself as moment givers. I want you to see yourself as moment acceptors as well. It is a cyclical thing. I mean, can you guys let me know in the chat if you feel this as well, if you've gotten just as much goodness from the people that you interact with, from maybe some of the patients and their families, as you have given them, right? Absolutely, you felt that. Definitely, absolutely, for sure. But what you have to make sure that you're doing is that you're keeping your ethos, your heart open to receive these moments. Because if you're just giving, I promise you, especially in the industry that you're in, you will burn out quickly. And I know that it can get exhausting. How can you make sure you're opening yourself up for received moments? But what are ways that you can make sure? Well, I'll tell you one way. We can go back. Let's go back to one slide real quick. How can you lower the volume of life in your own life? Like, what are ways that you can make sure you are lowering the volume of life? One of the things that I did yesterday, so I could receive more moments, I knew that I was going to give today. I was going to give today. I was going to give today. I'm speaking here, then I'm speaking to the leadership team here at the hospital. All of those things can get exhausting. So I showed up a day early to Denver, Colorado, and I took my wife and my son up to Breckenridge, and we fly fished in the Blue River. And when I say fly fished, I fished and fished and fished. I didn't fish catch because I didn't catch anything, but I fished and it was so relaxing. Let me know in the comments, what are some things that you do very specifically in your personal life to make sure that you are lowering the volume of life? What are some hobbies that you have? What are some things that you like to do? Gaming could be one of them. What are some things that you do? Reading, playing video games, building Legos, gardening, woodworking, planting. Yes, all of these things are so important. I'm telling you, if you're not doing these things to fill your own tank, it's going to be empty when you're trying to pour it in to other people. Getting back to 3 miles an hour. What do I mean by that? So I can't get up and walk here, but if I was on a stage, I would start walking. And the average, we can do it like this. The average human being, wow, I'm really good at finger walking. That's actually pretty cool. I'm going to make it real big on your screen so you can see it even better. The average human being walks at 3 miles an hour. By the way, I'm never doing any events that aren't virtual again. This is so fun. Okay. The average human being walks at 3 miles an hour. 3 miles an hour. Like I said earlier, the speed at which everything was happening in the hospital when I was with Sohaila was so fast. And we felt like we were able to receive more when we were able to slow down. What in your life can you move back to 3 miles an hour? Even the speed at which I'm talking to you is beginning to drive you Crazy. Come on, man. Get to the point, Carlos. What are you doing? You're talking so slow. Let me tell you. I believe we've got to get back to 3 miles an hour. Get back to 3 miles an hour. Get back to 3 miles an hour in your personal life by doing all of these incredible things, chilling on Max's roof. I don't know who Max is, but that's a 3 mile an hour thing for Gene, right? Cooking and gaming. Those are 3 mile an hour things. I believe that 3 mile an hour things are the ways to truly connect. You know, I know that it's, you know, we're living in I do a whole other talk where I talk to people about, you know, everybody feels the tension of divisiveness that we're living in. I think that one of the times that we're living, I think one of the ways we can get back to getting back together, kind of unifying our hearts with people that we may vehemently disagree with, is by slowing down. Honestly, like getting back to 3 miles an hour, creating these moments for the families that you are working with is vital to get them back to 3 miles an hour so that you can also receive these moments. Let me tell you a story on how I received a moment when I thought I was going to give a moment. Has anyone in the chat ever lived with a 12-year-old daughter or child in your home? Because let me know if that's ever happened to any of you, because let me tell you, when my daughter, currently, okay, Shauna, you're gonna love this story. When my daughter went from 11 to 12, something broke. I don't know what broke, but she went from loving everything about who I was to literally driving me insane. Like something happened, right? Those tween years, it was a whole thing. And so like I went from being her prince to like her enemy. And she would come home from school, or I'd come home from a trip, and I was like, "Hey baby, how was school?" And she's like, "Fine." "How's gymnastics?" "Fine, Dad." I was terrified of her. And so I thought, okay, she must be on drugs, right? So I go in her room and I'm opening all the drawers, and I'm looking for all the drugs, and I can't find the drugs anywhere. And my wife's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, I'm looking for the drugs." She's like, "She's not on drugs. She's just 12. And I was like, "Well, I don't like 12. Well, let me tell you what I did. I decided to create a moment to try to reconnect with her, right? And this moment was for her. So one of the things that 12-year-old girls did, I don't know, I guess it was 8 years ago now, is, I don't know if this happened where you guys live, but they would flip water bottles. You guys ever see the kids flipping water bottles all the time? So like she would always flip water bottles. And then like she was watching this one YouTube video I saw on her phone. She watched this YouTube video of a young man flipping a water bottle and landing it and winning a talent show, like a high school talent show, which is a whole other keynote. Like you used to have talent to win a talent show when I was in high school. But nonetheless, he flipped a water bottle, won a talent show, and she'd watched the video over 100 times. Now, I'm going to play this video for you so you can see the video that my daughter was watching. Again, I just want you to remember, how can you connect past what you're bringing to the patients? How can you connect past what you're creating for them? Like one step farther, you've got to dig a little deeper so that you can receive moments, okay? I'm going to play you this video, and I'm going to show you how I received a moment when I was trying to create one for my daughter. Watch this. The absolute hype. That it looked like he hit the final 3-pointer in the NBA finals, right? Like the crowd goes crazy. So that was the video that she'd watched over and over. Now, to be fair to the young man, he did it to the beat of the song, right? It was like dun 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 dun, and then all of a sudden, like he walks out there, flips a water bottle right when the music goes silent, lands it, sticks the landing, the crowd goes wild. So, what do? Back to Walgreens. Go to Walgreens, didn't buy a pack of extra gum. I bought a water bottle. I come home and I start practicing flipping that thing. I'm practicing. And to be fair to the young man, it was way harder than it looked. So I finally landed it once or twice, and then my daughter gets home. She gets home And she walks in the house. She's just like this or whatever. And I was like, hey, baby, how was school? Fine. How was gymnastics? Fine, Dad. I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared of her, right? She's so mean. Hey, baby, would you like to go in the backyard with Dad and flip a water bottle? Yeah, Dad, I'd like that. What? Okay. So I downloaded the song that the young man won the talent show to. What if we did a dual father-daughter water bottle flip on Facebook Live? Oh yeah, Daddy, I'd love that. She called me Daddy the second time. We walk in the backyard. Let me show you how I created a moment and received a moment for my daughter. Watch this.
We did it. We're the champion. Father, daughter, water flippers. We love you guys. Thank you for cheering us on.
Okay. Let me know in the chat. You almost yelled. Let me know in the chat. Who was more excited, the father or the daughter? Go ahead. Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Well, of course, it was me. Here I was creating a moment for my daughter, but I actually was the one, surprisingly, that probably received more. Think about this. When you're interacting with those that you interact with at work, whether it be in hospitals, whether it be at home, what are ways that you can start asking questions? How can I get one layer deeper? And I think a lot of these things are going to be you actually interacting. Now, I know some of you, you may be introverts. Listen, I'm actually an introvert. Believe it or not, I'm an introvert. I really love talking to cameras and my phone way more than I like talking to breathing human beings. But I constantly am thinking to myself, how can I ask a question to get one layer deeper into the moment I'm creating for the person, right? And so what are ways that you can do that? The father received the moment there. Can I tell you what happened? My daughter goes back to her room. We get done. We have this great moment. I sit down. I turn on the news, whatever. Let me tell you what happened. 2 minutes later, my daughter comes walking back out of her room. This child that was so mean to me, she plops down next to me on the sofa, sticks her head in my armpit, just like she did when she was 11 and a half, and I got her back. Why? Because I created a moment that I was able to receive as well. I'm just telling you, these are available all around us every single day. Dude, a 12-year-old, I'm reading your comments in the chat here, a 12-year-old smile at her dad like that is equivalent to screaming with joy. Absolutely. It's so good. I want you to really start thinking about these things. These are things that can be very applicable in the everyday situations that when you're visiting with patient families. How can you get one layer deeper? And I'm just telling you, you are going to receive way more moments than you ever thought. This right here. When you feel seen, then you can receive. You got to see those in front of you. You have to figure out how to see them. And then last but not least, we've talked about created moments. We've talked about received moments. Everyone in the chat, type in rescued moments. Rescued moments. Let me see it. Make sure you're still there. Jimmy Lou, rescued moments. Brad Taylor, rescued moments. Yes, Allie. Oh, there's a Carlos in the chat. Like your name. Ryan, Amy, yes, rescued moments. Okay, this is what you're doing every single day. You're rescuing moments for families. You're rescuing moments every single day. And the way that you rescue moments is going to take a little bit of, oops, that's not the slide I want. I wonder if I can just skip to this one. Yes, you must risk in order to rescue. I'm like tech specialist over here. I'm running. If any of you need an IT specialist, hire me. I've got this thing down. You got to risk in order to rescue. Okay. Rescuing takes risk, right? You're going to walk into some environments. You're going to walk in to an environment where you think, you know what? I don't know if I'm wanted. I don't know if they even want any, and again, I don't know the training you guys have. I'm just telling you from the perspective of a father, there were moments when people would walk in to try to help. So Hayla, she was in pain, me and Heather, as we're trying to navigate our home life and all these things. And the look on our face may have said, we don't want you here. The look on our face may have said, I don't want what you have to offer me. But when the offer would come, a lot of times that would supersede my feelings, right? And I was like, actually, I do want this. I'll never forget. I mean, this happened with one of the dogs once. They kept bringing these dogs in, and I'm like, the last thing I want is another dog in here. My daughter's in pain, right? But that was when my daughter said, Dad, when the dog is in here, I don't feel as much pain, right? And so the person that brought the dog into the hospital room was risking rejection, right? You're gonna have to risk rejection in order to rescue. It is risky, and I'm running out of time. I've got way too many stories to tell, but I'm good. Okay, am I good? Okay, I'm good. Because I want to tell you two more stories, and it talks about risking in order to rescue. This first story happened, and it took a little bit of a risk for me. But this is what I think. This is why I think this symposium is so important, because I'm speaking to a community of people that are working together in order to rescue moments of families, rescue moments in the hospital, rescue moments of these patients. And it's going to take risk, but when you do it together, way bigger things can happen than when you try to do it alone. I showed you these creative moments where I tried to do the flamingo origami thing. I keep saying flamingo. It's a crane that ends up in the toilet. But that was me alone. But when you do things together, oh my gosh, I'm telling you, the power of rescuing moments together, whatever group you work in, okay, child's play, if you're a hospital administrator, whatever it is, when you do things together, I'm telling you, the power goes so much farther. Case in point, I was in Atlanta, Georgia, and I was late to my next flight, so I missed it, and I was super bummed. I had to go to a speaking event. So I'm like, bummed. Am I going to make it? Am I not? And I'll never forget, I was going up Terminal A, the escalator. If you've ever been to the Atlanta airport, the escalators are like, 4 stories tall. So I get to the top, and there's a food court there. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go grab some food. So as I was walking into the food court, there's a man playing the piano. And he's playing the piano, and he's going to town, right? He's like going to town. And I'm like, man, he's really good. But I looked around him, and everybody was just looking at their phones. Nobody was paying attention to him. So I was like, you know what? So I went and I grabbed my Chick-fil-A, and I walked over to him. I was like, I want to let him see me see him. I'm going to rescue this moment for him. So I sat down, probably awkwardly too close to the guy because he's playing the piano, and he kind of was looking at me like this. He's playing the piano, looking at me like this. Finally, I think I was sitting too close because he stopped, and he goes, man, what you looking at? And I was like, oh, I'm just looking at you play the piano because you're so good. You're amazing. I go, what's your name? He's like, my name's Tony. What's your name? My name's Carlos. I go, Tony, like, how long have you been playing here? He's like, oh, man, I've been playing here for 15 years. He's like, I got kidney disease. I'm on dialysis 9 hours a night, but it's healing for me when I come here and I play the piano for all these passengers. I was like, this is amazing. And then I thought, oh, rescue the moment. I got to rescue the moment. So I said, Tony, and I looked at his tip jar because he had about $15 in there, and I had $60 cash in my pocket. I was going to rescue the moment. So I go, what's the biggest tip you've ever gotten? About to plop that $60 in front of him. He goes, $600. I was like, well, what am I going to do? I can't rescue the moment here. But wait a second. I have who I call my Insta Familia. And my Insta Familia are my Instagram followers. There was like 170,000 strong at that point. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to see how big of a tip we can give him together, collectively. So I started Insta Live, and I put my Venmo up, and I said, in 30 minutes, let's see how big of a tip we can give Tony. And let me show you how the world is desperate for rescued moments right now, because we rescued a moment together way better than we could apart. This is what happened.
Back now with our play of the day, a feel-good Friday. Carlos Whittaker was enjoying lunch when a piano player captured his attention, noticing there was not a lot of money in his tip bowl, even though he was playing his heart out. Well, the two started talking. It turns out that 66-year-old Tony plays piano every day, then gets dialysis every night. So Carlos had an idea to call on his Instagram followers for some tips for Tony's playing, and the money kept pouring in. And take a look at what happened next.
They just deposited $10,000 a day. 170,000 strangers that love your piano playing, and I asked them to give you money. You are loved. Come on, man. You are loved, you are adored, and I don't know what you need to do with $10,000, but it's yours.
Wow. And since then, Carlos said his followers have raised more than $60,000 for Tony's playing. And I gotta say, Carlos Whittaker, you and your Instagram followers, you get the Best Humans Award for this Friday.
It takes risk in order to rescue. Let me tell you, we ended up raising $60,000 by the time that Good Morning America clip aired. Let me tell you, by 24 hours completing from when I started raising money, we raised $78,000 for Tony. We tipped Tony $78,000. And I'm telling you what, it was very powerful. And let me tell you the most powerful part of this story. A week later, so Tony's like, first of all, I'm like, all these people are tipping you money. He's like, who? Like, he was so confused. I was like, no, they're on my phone. I mean, they're not in my phone. Like, I was trying to explain what Instagram was. And so he tells me the next day, he's like, I want to be part of the Insta Familia. I want to feel this too. Because let me tell you something. When you rescue somebody, they're going to want to rescue somebody. When you free somebody, they're going to want to free somebody. And that Friday, Tony called me. He's like, Carlos, you're going to be mad at me? I was like, what? He's like, well, I gave the money away. I was like, what? He's like, I donated $60,000 to the American Kidney Foundation because I wanted to feel what you felt. When you rescue people, they are going to want to rescue people as well. Again, like I told you, it's the cyclical thing. It's the cyclical human nature thing. When you give a moment, you're going to receive a moment. When you rescue a moment, someone else is going to want to rescue a moment. So powerful. I've got one more thing I want to show you that happened 2 nights ago that I think maybe a little bit more of a realistic version of what it is that you all deal with every single day. I want to make sure that we're getting to this point as well. You got to risk in order to rescue. You have to risk in order to rescue. What are ways that you can risk today as you interact with these families, as you interact with your coworkers, as you're trying to develop strategies? I'm just telling you, like, the best strategies, the best things that happen, the most rescue happens when risk is involved. And then some of the times, the risk isn't something that you choose. The risk is something that just happens to you. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation, you probably have, especially doing the work that you do, where, you're creating moments, you're receiving moments, you're rescuing moments, but then, there's a wrench that gets thrown in and you just kind of have to figure out what to do in the moment. What I actually want to ask you to do is to think to yourself, when have I been interrupted and how can I turn that interruption into an invitation? Think about this in your work, okay? We're interrupted all the time. And most of the time we're thinking to ourselves, this interruption, it's driving me crazy. I wish it didn't happen. But when can you turn an interruption into an invitation? Something happened to me a couple days ago. I was in a book tour in St. Louis, Missouri. I just released a new book and I'm speaking to all the people at the book tour. And everyone, as I'm speaking, is looking behind me and to the left. And there was a man off the street that was trying to come into a door. And so I thought maybe he was somebody that was late and he was at the wrong door. Well, little did I know, this was a very intoxicated man that just basically crashed my book signing event. Now, think about the people that come to book signing events, okay? People that come to book signing events, they love to read, okay? Most of them are, probably introverts. They don't place themselves in situations a lot where this sort of thing happens. And let me show you the power of turning an interruption into an invitation. And I want you to start thinking about how can you apply this in what you do every single time that you're interrupted. And it's like, wait a second, maybe I'm being interrupted for a reason bigger than I think. Let me show you what happened with this moment.
All eyes on me.
Oh, yeah. Hey, what's your name? What's your name?
Look, I'm not your audience. Is this your audience?
Oh, no, you're my audience. Because you showed up here. Yeah.
Please give a wonderful round of applause for Carlos.
But it was fun. That was more just like a random meetup. Tonight. What I'm going to do. I'm just going to read like a little bit of the book. Does somebody want to come in? Maybe Chapter 3, page 21. And I'm just going to read like 1 or 2 pages. Yeah, come on. Here we go. Godspeed.
All eyes on me.
Oh, yeah. Hey, what's your name? What's your name?
Hey, what's your name?
My name's Carlos. Okay.
All right, let's talk about it. My name is True.
True.
Yeah, I like it.
This is my book.
What you doing with that?
Look at me. I wrote that book.
So what's the book about?
Well, I think it helps you connect back with other people.
Yeah, that's
Look at all this stuff.
Look, I'm not your audience. Is this your audience?
Oh no, you're my audience. Because you showed up here. Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm gonna do. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Hey, round of applause. She was me too, but
show my last book out of human. Like humans are so desperate.
That moment was absolutely
I mean, that's literally
life-shifting for me. I know that a lot of you are working in situations that may, in a moment, feel really intense. Okay, wait a second. What are we going to do in this intense moment? A lot of times, people are literally just, like I said before, desperate to be seen. I think a lot of people were scared when Tarzan, which was his name, what he told me his name was, showed up. And he wanted a hug. So literally on the backside of maybe behavior that you're interacting with a lot of people on a daily basis that you may feel like is belligerent, or they're loud, or maybe they're testing you in ways, and it's an interruption. I want you to see it as an invitation. The moment that I created was simply inviting him up. What are ways that you can invite people in every single day? Allow interruptions to become invitations. I've got 7 more hours of stories I can tell you, but listen, I know you guys have a lot of important things to do. I am grateful. I'm honored to be able to sit with you because of the important work that you are doing. Thank you for letting me just remind you of things you're already doing, creating moments, receiving moments, and rescuing moments. Thank you so much.